What's going on, guys? SeeJayAre here, back again with a camera comparison, the G7X Mark II by Canon and the Sony Rx100 Mark IV. I've had a chance to play around with the G7X Mark II for a couple days now. The Mark IV I've had for about 6 months, and I've just finally got around to getting used to this camera to the point where I actually really liked it. Now, in terms of price, the Sony Rx100 Mark IV is around $1,200 here in Canada, whereas the G7X Mark II is, I believe, $799. Obviously, prices at this one's the G7X is around $6 something in the U.S. and I think right around $1,000 in the States, U.S. dollars. So a huge price discrepancy. Even for the G7X Mark II, which is now a newer camera than the Sony Rx100 Mark IV, you can probably get a G7X Mark I for really, not really cheap, but like probably around $500 now. And if you're on a budget, I think I might actually recommend that. For me, the $300 upgrade, or probably $200 upgrade at this moment for the between the Mark I and II for the G7X is worth it. I think there's enough features in this camera from the previous version to make it worth that upgrade. In terms of value between these two cameras, though, I'm gonna have to give it to the G7X Mark II. I'm gonna show you some footage here that I just shot down here in the basement comparing the two for under conditions that I'll be using it for, which is mainly vlogging. So I need a camera that can do a good job of autofocusing on my face and adjusting to the lighting situations that I'm in. Now I have noticed that I think I do actually like the sound a little bit better on the Sony. When it comes to LCD screen, they both have a similar pop out with a similar mechanism, but the G7X feels much more solid than the Sony. The Sony one feels a little bit flimsy, like you could snap it off if you're not careful. But it is both the same mechanism. You can see they can both do selfie modes, and they can both do the kind of overhead mode. If you're holding the camera above your head, you can see the viewfinder, which is a nice bonus. I just realized you can't see that. So a nice feature on both. I would give the win to the G7X Mark II there. It's got a really nice touchscreen too, and the screen itself seems to be a higher resolution, and it looks much better. I find that it's more accurate to what you'll see on the G7X than it is on the Sony. So I would give the G7X a win there. Another nice feature on the G7X Mark II is this new, you can toggle between a smooth manual zoom here when you turn the ring, or you hit this little switch and it turns to a clicking motion. I like the clicking motion just because it gives you better control, I think, of fine adjustment. The problem is the mic does pick up a slight clicking noise. If that's an issue for you, it's not for me. I don't mind that. I don't mind the trade-off of hearing a slight clicking noise. I like to know how many steps down I'm going, and you can feel it with a tactile. I don't know if the camera picks that up or not, but so I would give a win to the Canon there too. They both have the pop-up flash, which is a nice feature. I don't use it a whole lot. I do use this camera for taking pictures, but it's mainly for video. I'm really comparing these two cameras based on their video capabilities for vlogging and for the videos that I make, family videos and stuff like that. Videos down here. I think I'm actually going to switch to the G7 instead of this camera, just because it does so well in poor lighting conditions, and it's really hard to light this basement. So that is the #1 thing I've noticed. The G7X Mark II does much better in poor lighting situations. Here is the, actually I should mention the Sony Rx100 has a really cool pop-up viewfinder. Really nice feature. Again, not something that's a necessity for me. Even when I was taking pictures, I rarely used it. But if you're like a more professional photographer, that might be something that you're interested in. And then it's got the pop-up flash also. Size-wise, the G7X is a tiny bit heavier and a little bit chunkier than the Sony. I'm going to try and keep the Sony on this side each time. So you can see it's marginally bigger and marginally heavier. In terms of quality of build, I've got to hand it to the Canon. It feels really well built. It feels like it can survive a drop, to be honest. It's all like really nice metal construction. Feels very solid and very quality build. The Sony's nice too, but I would give the slight edge to the Canon though. They both have near field communication, Wi-Fi. They both have time-lapse, but you have to download a time-lapse app to this camera, which was a little bit cumbersome doing that. They call it the Sony Play Memories apps. I downloaded that and actually got used to it, and it takes really nice time-lapse videos. I turned them into videos. So. And then the G7X has it built in. Haven't had a whole lot of time to play around with it there, so I can't really speak much on that. It's nice that it's built into the camera. The Sony, like I said, had to buy it as an app, but time-lapse is something it's not too hard to do, so I would have to give the win to the Canon because the time-lapse, you have to download the app, and I think it was $5, $5 or $10 to download the app from what I remember. Let me think here. What else? The Sony Rx100 offers 4K resolution. That's a bit of a misnomer, a bit of a gimmick, I'll say. It overheats like crazy. You can shoot about a minute and a half until the camera starts to overheat and shuts down. The problem with that is I didn't mind. I knew that going in and buying it. I had seen the reviews. The problem is once it shuts down, it takes like 10 minutes to cool off. So if there's something you really need to shoot, you could be in big trouble because your camera's trying to cool down. So huge negative for this camera. I would actually, that's one of the selling features that sold me on this camera, and that's part of the reason why I regret this purchase. Don't get me wrong, this Sony is a fantastic camera. I should say I'm by no means an expert in cameras at all. So there are far better, far more technical reviews of lenses and stuff like that. This is featuring a Zeiss lens in the Sony, and this is Canon's lens as far as I know. I'm not big, I don't know the technology behind all that. One thing I will mention is the Canon has some really nice grips built in, which is actually a really nice feature. It's got one on the front and then the back, so you can hold on to the camera comfortably and it won't slip out of your hand. The Sony did not come with, I installed this is an official Sony rubber grip that I installed, so the camera's very slippery and it's actually quite hard to hold right out of the box. That grip alone I think was like $25, and then I installed a Sony screen protector on there too, so again, I'll give the win to the Canon there because it has the grip built in. It feels really comfortable. One thing I think I kind of liked, I'm going to say no actually. At first, I mentioned in my previous video that I wasn't a big fan of how this button was kind of flush, and it would be hard to find because it wasn't sticking out. I've actually noticed that it's actually quite easy once you find the rubber grip. If you're holding it like this in selfie mode, you find the rubber grip and slide your hand down and it's right below the rubber grip. So it's actually been quite easy to start it. I think it's actually been easier than the Mark IV, which sticks out a little bit, but it's a little bit more flush with the grip. So it can be a little hard to find that to start your camera if you're doing selfie mode, which I do quite a bit. So I'm trying to think what else here should I mention. Both, like I said, near field communication. Battery time seems to be I haven't really noticed much of a difference. Yeah, I think that's pretty much it. Anything from here on would get really technical, and like I said, if you want to get into lenses and shutter speed and all that crazy stuff, check out someone else's review. That's way beyond me. I'm not even gonna go down that road. I'm like I said, far from a camera expert. So anyways, that's a quick comparison between the Canon G7X Mark II and the Sony Rx100 Mark IV. That's a bit of a mouthful. I'm going to give the win to the G7X Mark II. I am absolutely blown away by this camera. I'm going to show you guys some footage here and I'll talk about it a little bit more. You'll see how good this looks. I get full 1080p 60 frames per second from this camera. I couldn't seem to figure out why I couldn't get it from this camera. Maybe I just had it on the wrong setting. I'm not sure if it does it or not, but it looks gorgeous. 1080p 60 frames per second. There was one other thing I was going to mention. Just slipped my mind there. Oh, they both offer charging through USB, which is sounds like a small thing, but it's actually really important. I believe the G7X, the previous version of this, did not do that. You can hook up a USB cord to the side and plug it into any powered USB source. So I use a battery bank battery, like a rechargeable, you know, you charge it up and then it's a lithium ion battery to charge your electronics. So if I'm running low on battery, I just pop it in there, and it's small enough that I can actually film with it. So if I have it set up on a tripod, I can just set it on a table somewhere and it can charge and I can still use my camera. So that's a huge feature with these cameras being able to charge through USB. So anyways, I'll cut to the footage now and show you guys how good these cameras look. I think you'll notice from the footage which one I prefer. What's going on, guys? SeeJayAre here with a quick camera comparison between the G7X Mark II and the Sony Rx100 Mark IV. The G7X Mark II is on your left and the Sony Rx100 Mark IV on your right. They're both set in auto mode. I just wanted to quickly show you guys the focusing capabilities and the you know, the auto ISO and white balance and stuff like that. This is ideal lighting right here. I've got a window right in front of me. It looks like the Canon G7X right now is a little too bright, and it looks like the Sony Rx100 Mark IV is a little too dark. Maybe a little bit more warmer and accurate colors on the Sony. But I've really noticed that the G7X does really well in low light conditions. So in my game room right now, we are gonna go head over into a darker area and see how these cameras both adapt. You can see the G7X does a bit better job of autofocusing. Now the area that I'm in is not well lit at all, and the G7X does a really good job of brightening it up and making it look nice and sharp. I mean, the Sony looks great. I really like how the G7X looks. I'm going to go into a really dark area here now with no light on. And you can see the G7X, Sony's having trouble finding my face and focusing. G7X is locked in and really brightens up that background and looks really crisp. Considering how dark it is in here, it's hard to even illustrate. The Sony is a much better indication of how dark it is, but the Canon it's amazing how well it does in low light situations. I'm really blown away by that. Looks fantastic. Not a big fan of the Sony in low light situations. That's one of the reasons why I decided to get the G7X. Now you can see how quickly each camera will adapt to different lighting here. Right by a window again. I don't know, let me know in the comments below which one you like more. To me it's hands down, I really like the G7X. We're talking about a price difference here still of $400 or $500. That the Sony that it costs more than the G7X Mark II. Now we're going to go ahead and go outside. We're going to go ahead and go outside here and see some outdoor conditions. Now it's super bright out here. Both cameras did a decent job there. My arms are getting a little sore holding both of these. Try not to step in dog poo here. Yeah, I think it's pretty clear. The G7X looks gorgeous. Look at the color of the grass compared to the Sony. Phenomenal. My grass doesn't look that good in real life. Just kind of taking a little walk here. I'm gonna pan away and then come back and see how fast it will focus on my face. The G7, the Canon finds it instantly. Like I said, both are in auto mode. It's a little easier to keep the G7X in frame too. The Canon's or the Sony's tougher to keep my head in frame there. I'm just holding them side by side by hand, so it's not the most technical way to do it, but I think it'll give you a good indication. I mean, check out the brick. Check out the definition in the brick behind me. Really, really amazing. So yeah, that's a quick audio or video test. I should mention the audio. The audio is one thing that I think I actually might like better on the Sony so far. I haven't had that much time with the Canon, but I was always really impressed with the mic on the Sony Rx100 Mark IV. So I'll have to see after I watch these two videos together. Let me know in the comments below which video and audio you think looks better. Anyways guys, thank you so much for watching this comparison video between the G7X Mark II and the Sony Rx100 Mark IV. Like I said, I think it's a hands down victory for the G7X. I really, really love this camera, and I don't see any reason to recommend the Sony over it. It's price alone. I mean, you can save $400 to $500 by buying the G7X Mark II, and I think it's a much better camera. So I'm going to give the win to the G7X Mark II. Let me know in the comments below what you think. Like I said, I'm by no means a professional at this. These are just my personal opinions. If you think the Sony Rx100 Mark IV is better, let me know why. I'd love to know. By all means, this is a fantastic camera. It's very expensive, and I think that the Canon is a much better value. So like I said, thank you so much for watching. You can do me a huge favor by just hitting that like button, and feel free to subscribe if you haven't done so. The links are in the description below for Instagram, Twitter, all that kind of stuff, Twitch. Yeah, thank you for watching, and until the next episode.